Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I thought I had 15 minutes, but here it says 10, so I've lost 5 minutes. But I must tell you something. Brazil has the most rigorous, the strictest and demanding law or rule related to rural activity with the environment. No other country in the world has the same demands that are made to the producers in Brazil. No other producer, American or European or from Asia, is under to give 80% of your own area to protect the environment, just like in the Amazon, which is half of our territory in Brazil. No American producer would do that. None of them would offer 20% or 35%, which is the case of the Atlantic in Pantanal or our Cerrado, to protect the environment. Not even in Europe, they would have to establish in its own land, have riparian land, forests, like we do here. No other legislation in Europe puts your producer under the laws we are put here. No other legislation in the world. And I studied about it. So from this perspective, the Brazilian producer is under the restrictions, legal restrictions that no other competitors in the world is suffering. This is all about, for us, a triumph that we hardly ever use in our relationship with our competitors all over the world. Our diplomacy is as if we were outlaws talking to a police sheriff. It's not our fault, it's not our responsibility that things are going wrong, and we don't have to explain. We are about one day before the biggest conference in the world, and we don't have the agenda, for example, of a pharmacy code that is followed by the whole world, that has a basis or a foundation based on which all the countries and all the producers have the same commitment or be under the same difficulties. We should place this in our agenda. We should mention that. One of the agendas of the conference in Belém should be exactly the place that Brazil occupies, so that we should have a law, a rule that should be respected. It is respected all over the world, so why not about this matter, about the forestry code? For this reason, I see the future of our agriculture in a combination of lights, which are good perspectives from one side, and shadows, which are the difficulties and the barriers that we have been living. The nature varies, because I've just seen that in Pará, I saw the government. It has constitutionalized the elaboration of adjustment term that doesn't have the approval or representative of rural producers, only of a university from the United States, and another one represented by a researcher that is linked to the same interests. The public ministry is a Brazilian institution that works in the Amazon, working with the NGOs. I don't think we should take that. We also have another process that we talk about juridical insecurity. In Brazil, we have something even more serious. We have in Brazil institutional insecurity, which means when there is no security among the powers. So the relation between the private with the state, that's juridical. Institutional is the one is the insecurity among with the state. We have in Brazil about the same theme, two different positions of two distinct powers in different positions. About the temporal mark, we have the STF wanting to work with the law, and we have a decision of the Congress reaffirming this mark. And as weird as it may seem, they are not still working. They are not on force. They were suspended against the Congress decisions by the Minister Gilmar Mendes, who must have realized how weird it was and has summoned a lot of audits that where we will decide where the STF will decide which position it will take. Meanwhile, there is another some people talking about who are encouraged by not the indigenous people, the interests of people who manipulate the suffering and the needs of the indigenous people in order to create an unstable picture for Brazil's economy. That's the truth. How about Brazil? We receive from
UN.
UN the position of paying for part of the food production on the planet because we have all the factors, the decisive factors to take over this responsibility. The world doesn't have anymore, which are knowledge, tropical agriculture offered by INDAP and by our universities and other entities, and also for the existence of human resources that the world is lacking. Human resources, which demands bonds with the land that you cannot. And Brazil has this possibility. I think that on the face of that, we need to look ahead. We cannot see the problem as if we were in the middle of a storm. I think Brazil can overcome these difficulties. The world will need our contribution for food security. And the main concern in the world are two: energetic and food security. No other country in the world has the minimum conditions as Brazil does to walk along with security facing these two challenges. For years, we have been linked to these activities, agriculture and cattle breeding. I would say that this activity, the agriculture, that can be converted in agro-industry and the excess of this area that can allow that Brazil come to become in the future in the revolution, industrial revolution of fourth generation. Brazil alone will only be a country, a relevant country in terms of technology if the excess produced by our agriculture, as coffee did in the past in São Paulo, this agro industry can allow the reindustrialization of Brazil. This is the only situation. Unfortunately, this is not understood. Brazilian state, when I talk about Brazilian state, I'm not talking about government. I'm talking about the state itself. It brings us, they treat us, they don't trust. They don't give their hand, offer a hand, or support for this activity, which is so important to our country. This is exactly the challenge that we have to face in the future. Thank you very much.